I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. The title of tonight's show is a rather hopeful one. It's called Mending Fences. And I think that we will all have a better chance to do that in our relationships this week, because a lot of the planets are in a little better position to get along with people more easily. Not all of them, but most of them are. And that is because today we have a wonderful trine of planets that are at home in the sign they rule. And they are the moon, which is in Cancer today, and that rules our feelings and our emotions. And it is trining Saturn, that is retrograde in Pisces, but it's also trining another ruler, Neptune, which is at the 29th degree in Pisces. So the moon and Neptune are trining each other, and that can help us get along better with other people and have more empathy and understanding about not only our feelings, but other people's as well. And so that can lead to change, because some of the planets are changing a little bit too. And it is that today, tomorrow, Mercury is going direct in Leo. And so when Mercury, the planet of the mind, is direct, it's a lot easier for people to move forward on their plans or express themselves better, so that's good. And then tomorrow, along with Mercury going direct, another planet is going to change signs and go into the sign it rules. And that gives it a lot of strength. And that's because today Venus is at the 29th degree of fate in Virgo. In fact, it's exactly opposing the 29th degree of fate of Neptune in Pisces. And so there can be a possibility that lately you have realized that a bubble is bursting, or something isn't quite the way you thought it was. And so you can be a little disappointed in that. But tomorrow, Venus goes right into Libra, and that's the sign of peace and compromise and diplomacy and partnership and the law and all legal matters and contracts. And when Venus enters Libra tomorrow, it will form a grand trine in the air signs. We haven't seen a grand trine in a while. A grand trine occurs when there are good planets, or any planet, in all three signs of the same element. And so tomorrow, Venus will be in Libra, the sign it rules, and it will be trining almost exactly Pluto in Aquarius, which represents people that are in upper management, or powerful people who have their eyes on the future, because Aquarius rules the future. So that's good. And those two planets are also going to be trined by both Jupiter, a wonderful planet, and Mars, which are in Gemini. And Gemini rules communication and easy transitional change. So do you see why it's possible that you could be in the mood and successful at mending fences somewhere in your life? And so that means that you could be involved perhaps in a more understanding way in family matters, or in financial affairs, or maybe you are wanting to just clear the air about something, or maybe you're wanting to set the record straight about something. And so I would say tomorrow is your day, and certainly going forward, because there will be a grand trine in the air signs. And none of the four planets that are in the air signs tomorrow are leaving right away. In fact, Venus is almost exactly trining Pluto, and they're at the beginning of their signs. Pluto is retrograde, so it'll be going backward in a while. Excuse me. But for right now, these four planets are really going to help you mend fences if you want to. And so this is a very good time for you to think about mending fences, because it can help you understand your feelings a lot better and the feelings of other people. And because there's that reciprocity, in other words, they can understand your feelings too, that would be good. It simply means that by mending fences, you may be able to settle some matters, and you can also be able to pursue the freedom once you've mended some fences, of going forward and following your own future. You see, maybe you just have to end something or resolve an issue from the past, or something that's a little sticky right now. And once you do that, you're going to be able to pursue and have the freedom to go forward in your own future. It's not just that you're sort of mending fences with somebody else. It gives you the freedom to think about what you want to do in your future. And so that's a real good reason to mend fences, to free you up. I mean, Venus is a wonderful planet, and it's trining Pluto in Aquarius, and Aquarius rules the future. It's going to be your future if you try to mend a few fences right now, if you can, or end something. Because unfortunately, there are still some problems that are lingering, and they need to be resolved too, but it's going to be a little harder to do that. And that's because today there are still 6 planets in a harsh T-cross among the mutable signs, and that involves today the Sun and Venus, which is still in Virgo, opposing Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. And those 4 planets are also being squared by 2 others, Jupiter and Mars in Gemini. And so not everybody's on the same page, and not everybody is agreeing on things. And but I think things are softening a little bit, because, or at least they will by tomorrow, when Venus moves out of Virgo and goes into Libra and forms that very powerful grand trine in air signs. But there are 3 other planets that are in a harsh T-cross among the fixed signs. There have been more planets in the fixed signs, but there's still 3, and that is because Mercury, when it goes direct tomorrow in Leo, is still being squared almost exactly by Uranus in Taurus, which is a malefic planet in a fixed financial sign. So not all financial problems can be faced and mended just like that because of this harsh square between Uranus and Mercury in Leo. But at the same time, Pluto in Aquarius is opposing that Mercury in Leo. And that means that people who are in upper management, who are thinking about the future, are not satisfied with the way other people want to maintain the status quo. Because if you maintain the status quo, which a lot of people may like to do because they're happy with it, then they are not willing to go into the future, and they may not even have the skills or be prepared well enough to go into the future. And that's the effect of Pluto and Mercury, Pluto in Aquarius and Mercury in Leo opposing each other. So that may not work out too well at the moment, and that means that there can be still a controversy about leadership and control and power and who's going to pay for it all. And so what that means is that we've had this T-cross going on in fixed signs, even with more planets, for a long time now. And that simply means that people's attitudes right now are irreconcilable. Okay, they're not agreeing. They haven't been agreeing. See, this is in fixed signs. Fixed signs don't budge. And so their viewpoints are irreconcilable. And so what can be done? Well, actually, mending fences is going to involve empathy and understanding. And those are really favored right now because the moon is in Cancer, trining Neptune in Pisces and Saturn as well. And so mending fences and having empathy and compassion for others by themselves are not going to work on people who are vindictive or jealous or are controlling. And so it's not going to work on what you might call a viper, somebody who's out to get what they want and doesn't care how much it costs and doesn't care who it affects. Empathy and mending fences isn't going to work on that because they're not going to change. And so you may be able right now, particularly by tomorrow when there's a grand trine in the air signs, you may be able to mend fences because you understand yourself better and you understand someone else better. That can be done. And so you could save a good person or a good relationship or a good situation. Even if it has been threatened lately, you could still save it through your better understanding and empathy. But why would you make a sacrifice for a vulture? Why would you make a sacrifice for somebody who would just as soon see you go down in order to get what they want? They don't have your best interest at heart. So forget them. This is a time when you could pursue and have the freedom to pursue your own future. And so you can't take everybody with you. There's a whole lot of people that don't care about your future. They only care about themselves. Those are the vipers and the vultures. And so just drop them. You know, walk away. There's something much better ahead of you. And it's the freedom to pursue your own future with people that you like and that understand you and you understand them. Doesn't that make sense? And wouldn't that make you feel better? So say goodbye to the vipers and the vultures and the people that want to hit hard and have their own way. You don't have to put up with that anymore. Isn't it wonderful that these planets keep moving along? Because this is a better time to mend fences if you can. But if you can't, just dump people that are really bothering you and realize that's the only way you're going to gain your freedom for a better future. So you may have to do that. But it won't be much of a loss, and you'll be in a position to have a much happier future. So I hope you think about that. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Aries. For you, Aries, it means that communication may improve for you because tomorrow Mercury goes direct in Leo and it trines your sun, Aries, which is great. And also, your ruler, Mars, is in Gemini, which is a sign of communication and easy transitional change, and Jupiter is there as well. And tomorrow, both of those planets will be trined beautifully by Venus in Libra and by Pluto in Aquarius, which is good. The only upshot to that might bother you a little bit, Aries, is that yes, everybody is going to have a chance for better communication and greater empathy and understanding of others, simply because there's a trine in the water signs today which emphasizes that. But Venus in Libra tomorrow is going to oppose your sign, Aries, for the whole time that it is in Libra. And that simply means that if you are not agreeable to some sort of compromise or diplomacy or some sort of settlement or a legal settlement sort of based on the law, if you're not in the mood to settle for that, you could be the loser, because when Venus goes into Libra, it is going to be backed up by planets that are forming a grand trine to it. There's going to be 4 planets in air signs tomorrow, one of which is the ruler of the sign, Venus in Libra, which will be opposing your sun sign. So if ever you were going to mend fences and you were going to sort of settle something and, sort of get over it, Aries, this would be a very good time to do it while Mercury, which goes direct tomorrow in Leo, is still trining your sun. And so this is just maybe a very good time and possibly the last chance that you have to end something in an amicable way. It may not get you everything you want, Aries, but it could free you up to pursue your own future. And that's what's going to be happening when that grand trine in air signs begins tomorrow. And it starts with being able to mend fences and have greater empathy and understanding for people right now. So I hope that you think about that, because if you can keep a smile on your face and still get out of a sticky situation or resolve an issue that has been, maybe it isn't going to give you everything that you want, but it will give you your freedom to go forward. And it's better than hanging on to the past or staying in a losing situation, because that doesn't help your reputation, Aries. Other people can see that, and they may not admire you for sticking to things that you want all your own way. Because if you're in a situation like that, I would try to compromise a little bit if I were you and get out of that situation, because this is a good time to mend fences and move on. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, Remember I said there are still 3 planets that are in a harsh T-cross in the fixed signs, and of course yours is a fixed financial sign. And so you have the malefic planet Uranus in your sign, which has been there for 6 years. It's going to be there for 1 more year, Taurus. It is being trined by the Sun and Venus at the 29th degree of fate in Virgo today, but Venus will move on. The Sun will still be in Virgo trining your Sun, Taurus, which is good. But you too, in order to take advantage of this wonderful trine in the water signs, because the Moon is in Cancer trining Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, and those Saturn and the Moon and Neptune are the 2 rulers of this sign. They're very strong. And they trine the other fixed financial sign, Scorpio. And so, Taurus, if you wanted to sort of stop fighting about money or control or leadership in one way or another, or some sort of gamble that hasn't paid off, and if you are just wondering, oh gee, should you stick to it, or should you sell it, or get out from under, or whatever, I think you should, Taurus, because Mercury, or the Sun and Mercury are in Virgo today. And you might be able to go over the fine print or the small details of something, and it would have something to do with your budget, Taurus. Not just your investments, but more your income and your budget and the costs, your outgo as well. And if you could look at that today, before Venus leaves, because it's your ruler, it's still trining your Sun today, and you could figure out what you could live with, even if it's on a reduced budget, and settle a matter, I think that you should do that. This is a good time to mend fences and settle financial affairs. And it's just about your last chance, because this T-cross in fixed signs is holding. Pluto isn't moving away from the square to your sign for years to come, well over a decade. It's going to retrograde for a couple of months at the end of the summer, and that's it. It'll be back in Aquarius, continually squaring your Sun, which is not anything that you have been used to, because Pluto was in Capricorn trining your Sun for almost 20 years. And it's not going to do that anymore. It's not doing that right now. So if you could go over the fine print of your own financial affairs and ask yourself what you could live with and what's got to go and mend a few fences, then you too would be gaining your freedom to do a little bit more of the things that you want to do your way. And since fixed signs don't budge, and this harsh T-cross in fixed signs has been going on for a long time, and it's not really going to change, because Pluto isn't really, it's the slowest planet up there, and it's not going anywhere. It's going to be squaring your Sun for years. You will have to make some financial adjustments, Taurus. The sooner you do that, the happier you'll be. So I wish you luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, tomorrow, when Venus leaves Virgo, which is actually squaring your Sun right now, and goes into Libra, it will be trining Mars and Jupiter in your sign. A Venus-Jupiter trine is a great thing. It can be very romantic, actually, and very pleasant for you. And so you can be very popular when this grand trine in your sign starts tomorrow, because also Mars and Jupiter in your sign are being trined by Pluto right now. And they will stay in trine, except for a couple months at the end of the summer when Pluto goes retrograde, but it'll come back into Aquarius and continue to trine your Sun, Gemini. In fact, it's going to trine your Sun for years. But it's fortunate that you have Jupiter there until next summer, because it'll be trining it. And so your life is going to expand in one way or another, Gemini. It may be difficult for you to believe that at the moment, though, because you could be on the verge of expansion, but still facing people who are not as usually agreeable as they have been in the past. And that's because today there is a harsh T-cross of 6 planets in the mutable signs, which means that Jupiter and Mars in your sign are squaring the Sun and Venus in Virgo, and they are also squaring Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. And since Mars is in your sign, it's squaring Saturn closely in Pisces, and those are 2 malefic planets. So behind the scenes, there's some nagging problem, or something that you're worried about, or something that's been going on for a long time, and you may not like it. And so I would say you're very lucky to have Jupiter in your sign, because I think you should try to look at the bright side of things right now, Gemini, and stop concentrating on things that can make you either mad or depressed. Because Geminis like to move fast. Their sign rules change in versatility and flexibility and, at least doing 2 of everything. And you can be on the verge of an expansion in your life, but there are still conditions or people that are not all on the same page with you at the moment, Gemini. Now that's about to turn around. That's about to change when Venus goes into Libra tomorrow and forms a grand trine to your Sun and to Pluto in Aquarius. So I would just say try to be patient and don't try. If you're feeling bad about something, Gemini, or you're doubtful about something, or you feel that you've lost a chance at something, I would say stop looking at all that, because it would belong to the past. It wouldn't belong to your future. Aquarius rules the future. Pluto is there, trining your Sun. And you have Jupiter in your sign for a whole year. Your future is still going to expand, Gemini. You may be feeling like you're almost trapped in a situation, or you could be depressed because something didn't work out the way you wished it would, but you still have a great future in front of you. And tomorrow, you're going to be amazed once Venus gets into Libra, because remember, Venus rules that sign. Whenever a ruler is at home in the sign they rule, they are really going to emphasize the best part of the sign. And so Libra rules partnership. And it rules love and marriage and compromise and diplomacy and beauty and art. And it rules the law and all legal dealings. So if you've been disappointed in something, Gemini, just take a deep breath and stay patient, because I think things are going to turn around for you. I would sure take advantage of Venus trining Jupiter in your sign. Even if Mars is still there, it's coming to it's in the last decan of your sign. It's moving on. And so keep a smile on your face, Gemini, and keep looking forward. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to Cancer? Well, Cancer, this is a beautiful time for you, Cancer, because your ruler, the moon, is in your sign. And so you can be thinking of home and family, and maybe even a move, because Cancer rules moving. And you could be thinking of good cooking and doing simple things, or maybe fixing up some things, sort of tending to tasks that you've been putting off for a long time that need fixing. Your sign rules manual labor. You are rather good with your hands, Cancer. Even if you don't know how to fix something, you can think of unusual ways to do that, and by working with your hands, your solutions would succeed. So don't be daunted by anything right now, Cancer. This is a wonderful time for you to mend fences, because the moon in your sign today is trining another ruler, Neptune, at the 29th degree of fate in Pisces, and the moon is also trining Saturn. When the moon and Saturn trine each other, it means that parents could be getting along or are getting along. And if you need to mend fences with some family members, you could probably do that right now, Cancer. And you could be in the mood for that, and so could they. So if there's been an estrangement, maybe even if you can't go back to the way everything used to be, things could soften a little bit. And as I said, you can mend fences. At the same time, you can begin to see that it is still possible to make a dream come true, but you would have to do that in a way that is more successful than the ways you have used in the past, because they haven't worked. And so you're going to have to think a little bit about your career, and you're going to have to think a little bit about the sacrifices that you're willing to make in order to have something work, or in order to mend fences. Because Saturn is a planet of sacrifice, but it's trining the moon in your sign. So that's pretty good. And also, if there was a dream that you just have given up on because you didn't think it would ever come true, remember, your ruler is trining the other ruler, Neptune, and Neptune rules dreams, and it's in Pisces. It's at the 29th degree of fate, but it's going backwards. It's retrograde. Maybe you need to go back to a dream and start thinking about it maybe in a new way, in a way that maybe is going to require more effort from you. But remember, I said that empathy and understanding, particularly of your emotions and of somebody else's emotions, can lead to being able to mend fences and even resurrect an old dream that looks like it's pretty much gone, but maybe you could just, through better understanding and a little more effort, Cancer, maybe you could still make that come true. But you'd have to be a little bit more realistic about your efforts and of someone else's. So someone else would have to be realistic too. So good luck, Cancer. When Neptune leaves in March, it will begin to square your Sun because it will go into Aries. It acts completely different in Aries than it does in Pisces, and you would have missed a chance irrevocably. It would never come back. If you have a dream that you've been putting off and putting off and putting off, or busy doing too many other things, I'd slow down a little bit, Cancer, concentrate on that, because when Neptune leaves, it will go into Aries and begin to square your Sun, and I guarantee you the dream's never coming back. It'll be over. And so this is a time when you need to reconsider a little bit. And if you've been busy doing other things and always thinking, oh well, things will work out someday, no, you're on a short list for achieving a dream, a very short list. And so I wish you the best of luck, Cancer, because the moon is in your sign and it's your ruler, and your sign rules endings. By mending a few fences, you may be able to end associations with vipers or vultures, or people that have always been after whatever you've got, or however you can please them. Those are people that are out for all they can grab. You really need to get away from them because that's not your nature, Cancer. Cancer rules nurturing. Cancers nurture everything and everybody, and they like that. You know, Cancer rules the United States. It also rules agriculture and farming and mining, and Americans think they should feed the world. Because it's nurturing. I agree with that. I think that's a good idea. You can't live if you can't eat. So that's your nature, Cancer. And I hope that you never stop, because we need gentle people like Cancers to care and to keep caring. So if you haven't been doing that lately because you've been too busy or something, Cancer, I hope you get down to what you really, or who you really care about, and at a very last chance, try to make a dream come true before it leaves. All right, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo. Well, Leo, the good news is that Mercury, the planet of the mind, is going direct in your sign tomorrow, which is great. There are no other planets in any fire signs, but at least Mercury will be direct, and that will help you communicate better, Leo. And it will help clear up some of your thinking as well. Maybe you've been too busy having summer fun to sort of get down to the nitty-gritty of irreconcilable differences that you may be facing and have been facing for a long time, Leo. And the reason why is that Mercury in your sign, whether it's direct or retrograde, the way it's retrograde today, but it'll be direct tomorrow, is being opposed by Pluto in Aquarius, and that simply means that people who are interested in moving forward in the future are not necessarily going to take you with them. Now, it might be because they're in a big hurry and you're not. Well, okay, that's the way it goes. People do different things at different times in their lives, and so they're probably not going to take you with them. And also, if you are a person who is not interested in the future, but more interested in the status quo, say maintaining your regular lifestyle or doing things the way you've always wanted to do them, then there is going to be a little falling out with someone else that's got different ideas about what they want to do with their future. And so, you know, questions about leadership and power and control and money are irreconcilable right now. And so, Leo, you may be having to make and now that Mercury is going to be direct tomorrow, your thinking may clear up a little bit, and you may be deciding, okay, I want to do it my way. And if you can afford that, that would be great. there isn't anything supporting your sign, but if you could afford to do everything your way, well, then go ahead and do it. But you would be maintaining the status quo. The only thing that I'm thinking about is that you have to be a little bit careful to make sure that the world doesn't completely pass you by, Leo. You wouldn't like that either. But it depends on where you are in your life and how much effort you want to put into something. Or maybe you've put a lot of effort into your life and you're tired of doing that and you just want to relax a little bit more. That's still doing things your way, and it may be irreconcilable with other people. And one thing that can be irreconcilable right now, Leo, is your budget. Because Uranus in Taurus is squaring your sun sign. It's squaring Mercury in your sun sign almost exactly. Uranus is at 27 degrees, Mercury is at 21 degrees in your sign. They're both in the last decans of their signs. But Uranus is so slow, it's not moving out. It's going to be squaring your sun for another year. Pluto in Aquarius is going to be opposing your sun sign for many years to come. It's very hard for fixed signs to understand that it's not going to be the same old way. However, if you're just choosing what you want to do, you can do it. It would be irreconcilable with other people's ideas, perhaps even irreconcilable with your budget. So you see, you've got a little additional thinking to do right now, Leo, about the choices that you want to make. And I still urge you, since the moon is in Cancer right behind your sun sign today, to think about mending some fences. You know, you can't get along with the vipers and the vultures, but try not to offend people that you actually really do care about. Because fixed signs don't budge. But if you insist on having everything your own way, you're going to be lonely. And Leos don't like that. So just remember that, Leo. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Virgo. This is a time, Virgo, almost at the last minute when you could still get something your way. And that is because the sun is in your sign today, and so is Venus. But it's at the 29th degree of fate. It's going into Libra tomorrow. And both of them are trining Uranus in Taurus. So if you have your mind on money, Virgo, there could be still some sort of last-minute good news, or you could readjust your budget in some way so that you can handle your money in a little bit more secure way. And I would suggest, I think you've been thinking about that, Virgo. You may have even been thinking about what your needs are and what your budget is, and you may have been thinking about going forward and how you want to spend money in the future. And you could have had some pretty good ideas about that while the Sun and Venus have been in your sign, trining Uranus in Taurus. But your sign is a mutable sign. It's been coming up against other people that don't think the way you do. Maybe they did at one time, but they don't think that way anymore. And that is because Saturn and Neptune in Pisces have been opposing your sun. Ever since Saturn went in, they've both been opposing your sun. And Neptune has been in Pisces for 12 years opposing your sun. You may have had some fond dream that actually hasn't panned out. And also Virgo rules accounting, and Virgo rules banking. And those are the things you do really well, Virgo. And that doesn't have anything to do with dreams or things that haven't panned out. It has a lot to do with your own ability to manage your own affairs. And you are good at that. And Virgo rules facts and details. And it also rules solitude. Virgos like their solitude. Virgo's the sign of the bachelor or the bachelorette. But they don't mind being alone. They're generally thinking all the time. Your sign is ruled by Mercury, the planet of the mind. You're always mentally active. And so if other people haven't lived up to your high expectations, Virgo, well, that's the way it goes. And you may choose to be a little bit more by yourself because at least you understand what you're doing. And it might be that you were not able to understand where other people were coming from or where they thought they were going. Maybe you just didn't understand that because they were confused too. So all of you were confused. And a Virgo doesn't like that. Virgo rules efficiency. They like everything to add up, or they like to know where everything is. And so this may be a good time for you to decide just to be by yourself a little bit more and work on things that you're good at, because you can be proud of that. And you know, Saturn will leave the opposition to your sun sign in another year. And Neptune's going to leave it quicker than that. Neptune will leave the opposition to your sun by next March. So things are going to be better. It's just that other people have not been thinking either of you or agreeing with what you want to do. That's because there's been a harsh T-cross or a grand cross, which occurred 2 weeks ago, in the mutable signs, which are usually very agreeable and flexible, but you know, it's been a little hard for you to get along with people, not necessarily through your own fault, particularly not with Venus in your sign, but you might want to be a little shy about mixing and mingling right now, and just be a little bit more sure about what you're doing, Virgo. Focus on yourself and your future, because you could be at a time when you'll have the freedom to do what you want in your future. And that doesn't always happen, but it could be coming up for everybody. If they could be compassionate towards people they understand, and they could let the vipers and the vultures go. The ones who are only after what they can get out of you. If you've got anybody like that in your life who's just using you, Virgo, let them go. That's not love. That isn't even caring and kindness. That's usury. It means they don't care anything about you except what you can do for them. Extreme selfishness. You don't need it, Virgo. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra. This is a time, Libra, when you're about to come into a situation or a relationship where you just shine. And that's because tomorrow, Venus, your own ruler, goes into your sign, and it's setting up a grand trine, not just a trine, but a grand trine in the air signs. And that means that Venus in your sign is going to highlight and accentuate all the things that your sign stands for. Peace and partnership and beauty and art and compromise and getting along. It rules decorating. It rules being very, very creative, but somewhat artistically creative. Your sign also rules the law and all legal contracts. Your sign rules balance and fairness. So that is certainly going to be accentuated in your life starting tomorrow when your own ruler moves into your sign. But it's got a lot of backup. And so, Libra, you've got to move forward. You've got so much backup starting tomorrow that if you don't move forward, I would say you're just being so lazy you're going to miss a chance. Well, don't do that. You know, Libras are pretty laid back. Well, this is not the time for that, Libra, because when Venus goes into your sign tomorrow, Pluto will be trining it exactly, because Venus will be at 0 and then 1 degree of Libra, and Pluto is at the same position in Aquarius. And so that's good, because that means that somebody in upper management, or who has a lot of experience, or you know is sort of up there in a large corporation, government agency, or institution, could be looking upon you very favorably right now. Well, particularly by tomorrow, and then going forward, Libra. And they could even make a wonderful offer to you, and no matter what they say, don't quibble. Just say yes, Libra. In other words, people who have a lot of experience and are sort of at the top of their game, if they're issuing you an invitation, I guarantee you they already know what they're doing and why they want you. And so trust them and go for it. And then Venus in your sign is also being trined by Jupiter for a whole year, actually, and by Mars. That's why I think you're coming into a period of time, Libra, where you're going to be very popular. It might even surprise you. Libras like being out and talking to people and mixing and mingling. They're very social. They like that. Well, you're going to be more popular than you think, Libra. You might even have to get some extra rest. So something that you have been wanting, either wanting to do, or someone that you were hoping would notice you, could certainly be doing that. And some offer, perhaps just on a temporary or part-time basis, could certainly come your way. And sure, it would mean more work because Mars is trining your sun too, and Mars is an energetic planet. But there would be unseen additional benefits to that, Libra, because Jupiter is also trining your sun, and by tomorrow it's going to be trining Venus in your sign. So this is not the time to sit back and make some excuse about why you can't do something. You've got to jump in. Jump in at the deep end of the pool, Libra. Don't worry, you will not be over your head. There will be people to guide you, and there will be people that may want you to work a little harder. But remember, I said there is going to be an unseen additional benefit to that. There will be more rewards for your hard work than you think, particularly in the next year, from this summer to next summer, while Jupiter is trining your sun. And, except for 2 months at the end of the summer, Pluto will be trining your sun for years. So, if you've been sitting on the couch, Libra, you got to get up and let people know you're alive, because they're going to love to see you. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, this is a time, Scorpio, when you can really feel like mending some fences. You can be in the mood for that. There's going to be no hard edges on you. Well, there might be some about financial affairs or power or leadership, something like that, because there is a harsh T-cross among the fixed signs, and yours is a fixed sign. But actually today, the moon, the ruler of Cancer, is trining your sun, and Saturn and Neptune, the ruler of Pisces, are also trining your sun. When two rulers are trining your sign, Scorpio, you can't lose, because they're really giving you a lot of benefit. In addition, your own rulers, Pluto in Aquarius, is trining your other ruler, Mars in Gemini. And when Venus goes into Libra tomorrow, which will be right behind your sun sign, that's a nice place to have it, because there could be happy things going on behind in the background of your life, Scorpio, when Venus goes into Libra. And that will be happier communications with people, because only Venus will be in Libra, right behind your sun sign. It means that not only could you mend fences right now because you feel like it, because perhaps you are wanting to attend to some family matters or financial affairs, or maybe you just want to clear the air about something, make sure that people understand where you're coming from a little bit better, or maybe you just want to set the record straight about something. All of this is possible right now, Scorpio. You can do it today. I would urge you to do that, because the moon's a fast mover. It's going to move out of Cancer, but you could really be quite successful in your understanding and empathy for good people. So I don't mean the vipers and the vultures, because nothing's going to fix them. And if you are in some sort of a irreconcilable argument with somebody, I'd drop them. I drop the argument and I drop the person or the organization, whatever it is. Just turn around and walk away, because your differences are irreconcilable in some way. But I'm talking about feelings, Scorpio. I'm talking about your feelings right now. With the moon in Cancer trining your sun, and Saturn and Neptune in Pisces trining your sun, and your rulers trining each other, that's always helpful. It simply means that you could understand yourself a lot better, and you could understand where other people are coming from too. And so you could mend a few fences, but I would say that just empathy and compassion are not enough by themselves to reconcile anybody who's been a viper or a vulture, or who has just wanted to use you or ride your coattails for one reason or another. Those people are around, and you know it, because your sign rules survival. You're pretty good at spotting an enemy, Scorpio. You may not always want to acknowledge that they're an enemy. Sooner or later you'd have to, and then you would survive. And so this is a wonderful time for you to mend a few fences and to make a dream come true based on a more practical assessment of how you feel and how you think somebody else feels. I mean, sooner or later you got to get down to just the basics of people's feelings. And I don't think that as Scorpio, since your sign rules secrecy, I wonder if you are keeping something secretly locked in your heart that is very important to you, and you're not looking at it. But this is a perfect time to look at that and understand how you really feel about somebody, and then try to go forward and make a dream come true. Believe it or not, it's still possible, even though it's really at the last minute. And that's because of this trine in the water signs now. So I'd get on that, Scorpio, because trine, once the moon moves out, the trine won't be there anymore. So try to understand what's really important to you and who is really important to you, and do something about it. Because it would be based on the truth that's in your heart. And this is the time to face it. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius. This is a time, Sagittarius, when I think something's going to click with you. And it could involve communication or something that you've been thinking about, but you haven't quite got all the details mastered, or you don't have all the information in place yet, or you haven't had. And that is because Sagittarius, yours is a mutable sign. And a couple of weeks ago there was a Grand Cross in mutable signs. Oh, okay, so things weren't working out then. But actually the Sun in Leo, along with Mercury there, had been trining your Sun. And the Sun has moved on. It's in Virgo now, and it's squaring your Sun along with Venus today. And Saturn and Neptune in Pisces are squaring your Sun, and Mars and Mercury in Mars and Jupiter in Gemini are opposing your Sun sign. So you might think, oh gee, I'm in the same quandary that I used to be in, but you're not, Sagittarius. And that is because planets have moved into more agreeable positions, but not all of them. There's still today 6 planets in mutable signs, all squaring and opposing your Sun sign. So you might feel like, oh gee, I'm going to be stuck in something, or I'm not going to be able to accomplish something, or my goals are so far out there I'm not going to be able to reach them. And that is not true, Sagittarius. Let's just think of it as a little pause, or a little stall, or it might have even been a long stall until you were able to sort of think of, okay, I still want to do something that's important to me. Well, by mending fences, by deciding to let some things go that are never going to work out and just say goodbye to them, you could be in a position to think more clearly now, because Mercury in Leo is trining your Sun. It's going to go direct tomorrow. And you'll be able to get some answers about things that you really care about. And you're going to be perhaps a little bit more hopeful about them working out. That will surprise you. But I think that you're going to say, I think that could work out. Or I think all I have to do is take these few steps and that will happen. And that's true, Sagittarius. So I think once Mercury goes direct tomorrow in Leo and continues to trine your Sun, you are going to be in a more hopeful frame of mind. And, when you think positive, things happen. So good luck, Sagittarius. Things are not as rigid and uncompromising as they used to be. And it's going to get better. It's not going to get worse. So just keep looking up, Sagittarius. Things, if you get out and talk to more people right now and ask questions and gather information and, do your homework or do your legwork, your sign rules the legs, I would say you're going to get somewhere. You're going to get some positive answers. And maybe you should just try a little bit harder, because the world around us, all of us, has changed, and we're all having to understand that we have to change too. And I think that you're going to be successful at that, Sagittarius. So good luck. Even if it involves something that you wanted to do for a long time and always put off, as long as you're still thinking about it, it's still alive, and I think you should still go for it. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn. This is a time, Capricorn, when I think that you have been more or less hitting a sweet spot. And the reason why is that Uranus is trining your Sun sign still. It has been for the last 6 years. So there could have been financial matters that, sort of worked out. And even if the value of your investments fluctuated in one way or another, you may have been able to handle that pretty well. And then the Sun and Venus in Virgo have been trining your Sun, which is wonderful for you. You could certainly get better news about a health matter, but also your mental frame of mind could be more positive because Venus is in a mental sign, Virgo. The Sun is still there, but Venus is going to move on tomorrow into Libra, and then it will begin to square your Sun. So you could decide, oh, I want to do this, I want to entertain, and I want to be happy, and I want to have fun, and not everything's going to work out that way. But with it still is setting up a grand trine in the air signs. So this is a time for you to be very expressive, Capricorn. You should get out and talk to people, or if you've been working at something on something at home, you should try to advertise it a little bit more to the world, or show the world what you've been doing. First of all, I think you can afford that, okay? And even if you're doing it a little bit, taking baby steps in a way to communicate a little bit more, that's what the Grand Trine in air signs, which is starting tomorrow, is all about: communication and easy transitional change. And if you're thinking to yourself, Capricorn, oh, well, I'm stuck in a situation and I just can't get out of it and I don't know where to go or what to do right now, gee, you're just digging yourself a hole that you don't need to dig, Capricorn, because you could be saying to yourself, how could I communicate more? How could I reach other people that I want to reach? Or if you want to take more classes, which classes would I want to take? You see, it's called outreach, Capricorn. And when we have 4 planets starting tomorrow in a grand trine in air signs, everybody should be involved in more outreach, more communication, more getting out in the public eye, because it will bring about easy transitional change that will be most fortunate for everybody, because Jupiter in Gemini is trining Venus in Libra by tomorrow, and they're all trining Pluto in Aquarius. Now, sometimes we have to think about how to gain the freedom to pursue our own future. And this is we're walking into a time when that's going to be good for everybody. We should all be thinking like that, including you, Capricorn. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, I could just sort of rinse and repeat here, because yours is an air sign, and tomorrow Venus will be moving into Libra and trine your Sun exactly where you have Pluto right now. That means, Aquarius, that either you're coming into a more powerful position of your own, maybe it's just at the start of it, but it's there, and you're going to get some wonderful backup, perhaps from new partners, because Libra rules partnership. Venus is there, it's the ruler, and it's going to be trining your Sun the whole time it's there, and then Jupiter and Mars in Gemini are also trining your Sun right now. Mars is late, it's about 26 degrees of Gemini today, but it is trining Pluto in your sign, and they are the rulers of Scorpio. And so I would think, Aquarius, that if you wanted somehow to get your hands on more money, you could do it right about now. It would be coming in a way. It could be an income tax refund, it could be something where somebody repays a loan that they didn't quite do yet. Or it could be that there's some insurance money coming to you, or an inheritance, or some money coming in. Maybe you're going to sell something. Well, that would be money coming in. And it would involve the ability for you to make an easy transitional change, whatever that was. And maybe it's just going to involve better communication and more outreach to the public. Gemini rules the public, and it's always trining your Sun. But then these 4 planets, particularly Venus, that's going to be exactly trining Pluto in your Sun sign starting tomorrow, is going to put you in a higher spot, Aquarius. It's going to start you on the path up toward your future. And I said up. I didn't say forward, because it's naturally going to go forward and up at the same time. The next step that you take toward your future is going to go like that, Aquarius, forward and up. And I would not be surprised if it didn't just keep going that way. Slowly. Pluto is the slowest planet, but it never stops. And somebody who would make the mistake of coming up against Pluto, which rules deep psychological transformation and change, would never win. Pluto rules nuclear warfare. not a good idea to mess around with that. If somebody wanted to, they would never win. And so you don't have to take drastic steps, Aquarius. You're going to have so much backup as soon as Venus comes into Libra tomorrow, because you already have backup from Mars and Jupiter trining Pluto in your sign. And then Venus, what you might call one of the nicest planets around, is going to be trining your Sun too. The two last planets in the heavens are Venus and Jupiter, and they're both trining your Sun as of tomorrow. So I'm not saying you can do no wrong, Aquarius, but I would say if you wanted to put your best foot forward, if you wanted to mend a few fences, you would be very successful at that. And, you know, it's better to make peace and not war. And there are all kinds of ways to free yourself by settling something, or mending fences, or getting away from things that aggravate you, or getting away from people that just want to use you, the vipers and the vultures. And you can do all that. Freedom is what your sign rules. That is exactly what you're headed for, Aquarius, so good luck. All right, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces. This is a time, Pisces, when you're going to be able to look at the facts and realize that something doesn't add up. And that could be disillusioning, because today, and now it's just for today, it's going to change tomorrow, but the Sun and Venus are in Virgo, and Venus is at the 29th degree of fate, opposing Saturn. And when Venus and Saturn square or oppose each other, that's a sign of a betrayal. That's why I think you're going to finally realize things have not added up the way you hoped they would. They just didn't do it. But Venus at 29 degrees of Virgo is exactly opposing Neptune, your own ruler, at 29 degrees in your sign. And Jupiter and Mars are both squaring your Sun, and Mars is at 26 degrees of Gemini, not only squaring Saturn in your sign, but closely squaring Neptune in your sign as well. And so, Pisces, I think that you're able to see that something that is related to the past isn't viable. It's not going to work. It didn't work. And you know, thinking about it some more is not going to make it work either. And the reason why is that there are too many, almost what you might call failures, that have to do with practical matters, like budgets and money, and something just, or the way people's values are. You're going to see that something didn't add up. Somebody's values didn't add up to what yours are, Pisces. And that's related to your past. Okay, it might have been more. It might have been two people, and because yours is a double-bodied sign. And there can be things that have been hidden for a while that you can almost identify an imposter around, maybe two of those as well. And so things would not be adding up, and you could be disappointed at that. And so, Pisces, this is a good time for you to think of how you can mend fences, either in family matters, financial affairs, setting the record straight about something, or just clearing the air about something that could resolve an issue in one way or the other. And it's a little bit like saying goodbye. And it's certainly time, Pisces, for you to do that. Now, it's overdue, but the good news is that with the moon in Cancer trining Neptune in your sign, and both of these being the rulers of their own sign, so they're very, very strong and very empathetic, you could be looking with great love toward someone or something or even some place that you really love. And if that's where you need to be, Pisces, you should get there real quick, because you would be able to understand your own feelings very clearly right now. There would be nothing stopping that. The moon is trining Neptune. And Neptune is retrograde, meaning that at some point in your life you sort of realized those feelings before. You may not have done anything about them, but you could be realizing how you really feel now. And Pisces, you could be coming home. not just to what's in your heart, which you could be understanding a lot better right now, but you could be coming home to your own future. Now, doesn't that sound strange? Because coming home means it would imply that you're going back to the past. Well, you might be going back to somewhere that you used to live, or you might be moving, okay. But what you're doing is you're coming home to what makes you feel relaxed and comfortable and more yourself. So you would not only be coming home to a precious dream, you would be coming home to who you really are today and how you really feel in your heart today. And no matter what age you are, you would be quite able to face that. And there may be some people that you've cared about for a long time and never said a word. Well, I've mended a few fences and tell them, Pisces. Maybe they've been waiting a long time to hear it. And then there are some other people that you could be saying, well, you know, I'd give my right arm for that person. I'd give my life for that person. Or maybe it's a goal, or it's a country, or it's a dream of yours. And yeah, you could be understanding that very clearly right now. And so this is a time for you to be completely honest with yourself, Pisces. Look in the mirror and look at who you are and how you feel. And you would understand it all. And then my advice is to go forward. Your own ruler, just about for the last time in the next 146 years, is still in your sign. And Saturn is there making you be more realistic, more willing to admit your mistakes, but also more willing to admit if you're not really quite on the right track. And this is a time when you need to get on that right track, because it will make you feel as if you're coming home to yourself and possibly to someone else who loves you that way too. So give it a go, Pisces. Do your best. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in, and thank you for the new subscribers that have signed on. And I wish you'd tell your friends if you like the show. And in the meantime, I just hope that all of you have a chance, particularly in this next week, despite the problems that are still lingering. Try to mend some fences. That will give you the freedom to pursue your own future. And I guarantee you, it's the future that we're all looking at, not the past. So good luck. Thanks a lot. I'll see you next week. Bye.